If you're tired of feeling overwhelmed, stretched thin, or like you're just failing at everything, today's episode is for you. I want to dive into why balance is actually causing more harm than anything. So if you are a mom who is working, a mompreneur, building a business that you are so excited about, or maybe you're just an ambitious woman who's climbing a corporate ladder but feeling like you are failing, today's episode is absolutely for you. So let's gather. Welcome to Gather Podcasts, where we help women navigate business, career, motherhood, and more, all while keeping your faith at the center because we believe growth never happens alone. It happens when we gather. Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren. I am so excited to be back with you guys today. I am a marketing director, an entrepreneur, and a mom of two fantastic little kiddos. And today's episode, you guys, is so near and dear to my heart because I wrestled with this. I walked this out 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago when I became a mom. And so we're going to be talking today about balance because balance is a cultural narrative that goes hand in hand with hustle culture and toxic productivity. We talked about the hustle culture last week and just that constant needing to do something and constant needing to be productive. And I think a lot of times a root cause that leads us women, leads everyone, but I'm particularly connecting and speaking to women. It leads us, especially when we become moms, into hustle culture. It's the root narrative of balance. And so what is balance? I have my notes here again. So balance is the state of achieving harmony and equilibrium across key areas of your life. So when we hear that term tossed to us, we're going through a hard time and someone says, oh, you just need to find more balance in your life. Well, balance, when I hear the word balance is like a scale. So balance is, I spend this much time here at work and this much effort and energy and focus. Well, I also need to spend that much effort, time, focus, energy in my marriage and in motherhood and in self-care and exercising and taking care of myself and in serving the church. So balance is this idea of having equal weight, equal distribution in all of the prominent and primary areas of our life. But is balance actually achievable? And I would say no. So I want to start off with a little story time when I became a mom. So prior to becoming a mom, I've shared already, I was in a leadership role. I would help out teammates. I would cover for teammates. I would work a lot of overtime. And I was kind of just always in this career building mindset, this career focus, climbing the leadership ladder or the, corporate structure for a small business. I was always driving towards more growth, serving more, outpouring myself in a career. But when I became a mom, this whole idea of balance actually rocked me, like turned my world upside down, crying in bed, tears, boogers, holding my baby, because balance was something that did not seem attainable. And it did not seem attainable for 3 years of my firstborn's life. When I became a mom, I had my 8-week maternity leave. And I vividly remember dropping off this 2-month-old we were very fortunate at the time, to my mom, to grandma. He was going to be with grandma for 8 hours while I was at work. My husband would pick him up. I would come home about an hour and a half after Tim had picked him up. And I went back into work thinking that I was going to be able to show up the way pre-baby Lauren had shown up for work. I went back to work with my pump, feeling motivated, feeling like, oh, I've got this. I got a good night's rest last night. He only woke up once. And I learned really quick that trying to do all of the things, trying to show up the way pre-baby Lauren had showed up in leadership was going to look very different. Balancing all of that was not possible. And so culture says that we need to have more balance, and what I found true for myself, and what I found true for countless amounts of women that I've coached, that I've come alongside with, men that are in my life that, I've talked to, balance is causing so much damage, because what it does is, when I became a mom and I needed to balance work, showing up as a leader, pushing the needle forward, finding time to pump so I can feed my baby, and so that I wasn't losing my milk production, coming home, taking care of a child, I entered into a perpetual state of feeling like I was failing in a certain area. And I see this. I get on Instagram all of the time, and I see this idea almost glamorized. This idea of, oh, I'm a working mom. I am a working mom, and right now I'm failing at home, but I'm winning at work, or I'm winning at work and I'm failing at home. It's almost glamorized, where it's just becoming a funny joke on Instagram. And what I want to say is, like, that is just toxic. We don't need to buy into that narrative. We don't need that. We can do better, and we can be better. Balance, I think I'm starting to get ahead of here on my notes, but balance is actually, it's leading us into this perpetual mindset of failure. And we actually don't need to constantly feel like we're failing. So what I want to do today is really help you to let go of that narrative of balancing the things in your life. And what I want you to say hello to is biblical stewardship. It is stewardship that we're actually called into. So if you're a working mom, if you are a mom, and like me, working a 9-to-5 and in the process of building a business, I have a lot on my plate right now, but I also have a lot of peace, a lot of joy, and I am thriving in all of it. It's because I've ditched balance, and because I've bought into, and I've learned over the last several years how to steward my time and what stewardship looks like. So the Bible tells us all through Proverbs, to be hard workers. So stewardship is not, oh, okay, let's start to be lazy and just coast. No, we're actually called to be hard workers. We're called to be diligent in the things that are set before us. So if that's a job, if that's a kiddo, if it's toddlers, if it's taking care of aging parents, there are so many different things, and there's so many different scenarios for all of us. We're called to be diligent and work hard in all of those areas. It just doesn't look like what culture has told us. It doesn't look like balance and balancing it all out. So the book, and where I really started to actually see this is, first I had I'll call him a mentor. He's not really a mentor because he's not a believer, but in a business aspect, I've learned a lot about business. I've learned a lot about systems and routines and marketing and structure and sales from him. But one thing is, he said it one day in one of our leadership meetings. He said, balance doesn't exist. I hate the term balance. And that was the first time I had ever heard that, and started to think of this idea of balance being a bad thing. And that was probably about 3-4 years ago. But it was reaffirmed when I began to read through my Bible, and I came across the book of Ecclesiastes and several other verses. So Ecclesiastes, and I talked about this in the previous episode, but the book of Ecclesiastes says that there is a time and a season for everything. So there is this continuous narrative, and you can go read Ecclesiastes. It's a really good book, but there's this idea and this very clear narrative that, one, there's a time for everything, but two, there's seasons. And when I think about seasons, we look at winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring. There's continual changes of seasons. And as we see that out in the world with nature, that is also true for our lives. There is constant changes of seasons in our life. There was Lauren, who was single and just working, and I had all the time in the world to pour myself into my career, building skills, learning systems, self-improvement and personal growth and career. I was exercising and spending hours at the gym and spending so much time with my family and serving at the hospital. Then I met my now husband, and we began dating. And so the season changed. My time began to look different. I needed less time in the gym, or maybe a little less time with my family, to begin to date and get to know him and build a relationship with him that ultimately led to marriage. And marriage, then there was married Lauren, building my career, and then there was Lauren with kiddo 1. And then Lauren with kiddo 2. So my seasons have continuously changed over the last 6 years, and they will continue to change. We have a kiddo who's entering kindergarten now in this upcoming August, and that season's going to look different. And so Ecclesiastes starts to create this clear narrative that there's always going to be a changing season in our life. And so if you're a working mom, if you're a mompreneur building your business and you're feeling so stretched thin, you're feeling overwhelmed, I want you to lean into learning that we're called to be good stewards. We're not called to balance it all. So First Corinthians 4:2 says, "Moreover, it is required of stewards," that's us, "that they be found faithful." So we're called to be faithful in our work. And stewardship is just management. We're called to manage and be faithful to the things laid out before us. And so how can we do that? How can we, as working women, as ambitious, driven women, begin to steward our lives, steward our businesses, steward our careers, motherhood, being a wife, in a way that is pleasing to God and also takes us out of hustle culture, takes us out of this perpetual narrative that we're failing at things, and enter into an area where we can thrive and we're being successful. So today I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can begin to enter into stewarding your time and your business well. Now, step 1 is I want you to write an inventory list. And this one, you can't skip any of these steps, but step 1 is super crucial. I want you to get a sheet of paper, grab your favorite coffee, your tea, sit down when you have some time. Make time for this, because this exercise is really going to help you. And what your inventory list is going to be is, first, I want you to write what are the major areas or domains of your life. And I want you to write that across the paper. Career, marriage. You can have relationships, but we can even categorize that further and have your marriage, your kids, relationships with your parents. Is it your health? What are those major domains? And in each of those areas, so below those columns, I want you to start to write out what are you responsible for those areas? And what are the outcomes? So if it's your career, we'll pick that because that's the easiest. It's there can be a lot of details with marriages and kiddos. your career, what are you responsible for those? What are you responsible for in those areas? Sorry. Is it leadership? Is it graphic design? Is it messaging and positioning? What is the time commitment in that? Write out all of those things. And then I want you to write out, what are the outcomes that you want? Are there certain goals you're supposed to hit? Are you trying to get a promotion? Are you trying to get to a position where you can decrease your hours? If you are like me and you're building a business, how many clients are you trying to hit in the next quarter? Or if you're trying to build your website, what's a time frame? What are those outcomes? And I want you to get really as specific as you can in these areas. Have that mapped out, and then turn to another sheet of paper, and I want you to write out very honestly what is, and I want you to be very self-reflective in this and think, like, don't rush an answer. Really sit and think about it. What is the season of life you're in? Are you career building and you don't have kids? Maybe you're pregnant right now and you're preparing to become a mom. Are you a mom and you're a mom with young children? Being a mom, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old right now. Being a mom with young children, I know is going to look very different than being a mom with kids in middle school or being a mom to kids in their teens. So get really honest and very specific about what season of life you're in, because that's super important. And so when you map out what season you're in, I also want you to ask yourself, which of these areas in this season and in your inventory list naturally are requiring more of your attention? For me, my kids being younger right now, they require a lot more attention than I'll expect them to require when they're 9 and 10, and they're able to be a little more independent, and we're starting to raise them into more independence. I know that there's going to be less required of me at that time, where right now I'm making snacks, I'm making meals, I am helping with bath time, I'm helping with brushing their teeth and doing their hair. I'm helping with so many details of their lives right now that it is naturally requiring a lot more of my attention. So write down your inventory list. What are the areas, your main domains of your life? What are you responsible for in those areas? What are the outcomes you want in each of those areas? What season of your life are you in? And reflect on all of that. What are the areas that are naturally requiring more of your time? So once you start to do that, you're going to start to gain clarity on what are the things that you're called to be faithful to right now. And that will look different in this season that you're in now compared to the season that you'll be in the future. Now, step 2, the second thing I want you to do, we have our inventory list. We know all of the different areas of our life that we've been trying to balance up until this point. We're burnt out. We're feeling overwhelmed. We're ready to start thriving and living life well. So I want you to write out a table-it list. Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second. So step 2, I want you to have a table-it list. Now, what is a table-it list? This is a list of 2 or 3 things. I want you to think about, what are the 2 or 3 things that you have been trying and forcing into your daily schedule, into your weekly schedule? You are trying so hard to get that peg in the little hole, and it is making you anxious. It is keeping you in a perpetual state of feeling like you were failing, or it is just overwhelming you. What are those 2 to 3 things? And we are going to table those things. I have 900, I love a lot of different things. I'm super creative. I always want to try things. I have a list of 900 different hobbies that I really want to do. And I have had to realize that a lot of those hobbies are going to be better done in a season when the kids are older. So I have tabled those hobbies, and I have selected hobbies that are a little more forgiving, that work in the season that I'm in right now in my life. And so I want you to do that. What are those 2 to 3 things that you've been trying to force? Is that going to the gym 3-4 days a week, and you're just feeling like you're a failure? And this is one that I feel I connect with so many women on. It's like working out and taking care of yourself. They're trying to get in the gym for an hour, hour and a half. Their gym's 20 minutes away. They need to find a caregiver, but they don't want to take their kiddos to the daycare gym, which I don't either. So I completely understand that. But they are just feeling like they are failing. They're working out once a month, twice a month, and so they're just feeling defeated. And what the shift is learning that it's okay to work out at home, or learning that you can't work out 4 days. Maybe you can't work out 4 days a week right now because you have a newborn, or not a newborn. Maybe that's too young. You have a 6-month-old or a 1-year-old, and you're building a business, and your husband's away for work, and so it's just not sustainable. I want you to figure out how to tailor that to something that's going to work in the season that you're in. And even if it means you're just going for stroller rides and you're getting 10K steps a day, 3 days a week, that's good enough. We need to learn how to be faithful with where we're at in the season we're in, and know that the next season we can do more. So these are often things that don't really need to be a priority right now, and it's okay to table them. I learned after having my second, there was a lot of health things that came up for me after having her, and after that delivery, I had to be okay with just doing home workouts and sometimes just not working out, and just being a mom and really watching what I ate was the way that I could be faithful to my health in that season. I wasn't able to go to the gym. I was way too tired because she was not a good sleeper. I was way too tired to actually exercise early on. And so I was faithful and stewarded my health by eating better and making better choices with how I was eating. So that will start to paint the picture of what stewardship looks like. Maybe I can't work out right now in this season of my life. When the kids are a little older and I'm more comfortable taking them to the gym daycare, that'll be great. But right now, I'm going to really reel in what I'm eating. I'm going to eat whole foods. I'm going to eat a lot more vegetables, high protein. I'm going to watch and steward my health through my nutrition. So step 3, and all of this is going to help you feel so much better as you move into the upcoming weeks. Step 3 is to redefine what success looks like for your season. And I guess I started jumping ahead with what I was explaining. So I had the example of having my second born and realizing that I did not have time to go to the gym, and I was way too tired to work out. I had to redefine what health success looked like for me. And that looked like I shared, through my nutrition, through trying to eat really well and reeling in and being cognizant of the foods that I was inputting into my body. So that's what success looked like for me in stewarding my health in that season. Now I work out all the time. I still eat really well, but I've been able to stack on that because I'm getting better sleep. She sleeps through the night now, so my season looks very different. So why this is so crucial to redefine what success looks like is God doesn't tell us to go out in the world and conquer and be great at every single thing we do. He says, no, be faithful and great at the things that I have assigned for you in that season. And our seasons are always changing. So maybe you are a business owner and you are feeling overwhelmed. You are trying to hit these goals that are 10 steps too far and you have young kids right now and you're working a 9 to 5, I'm actively walking this out with you right now because 6 months ago, I was starting this journey of entrepreneurship and I was trying to move at lightning speed, and I had to slow down and realize, okay, I still work my 9 to 5 and I need to be faithful there. I still have kids that I need to connect with. I can't be working every single weekend on my business. I have my husband that I need to dedicate a small amount of time for during the week, evenings. We have at-home date nights, and I need to steward and be faithful to my relationship with him. So I had to slow down and redefine what does success look like for me. I'm actively building my business. I'm actively growing in my 9 to 5 right now as well. I'm very connected to my kids and to my husband now. Why? Because I redefined what success looked like for me. I selected one needle moving task in my business. What is the one thing for my business that I can do faithfully, that isn't going to drive me into hustle culture, that isn't going to burn me out and make me feel like I am falling apart and failing at everything else? What is the one needle thing I can do in my business? And what are the things at my work? What are the outcomes that are needed of me in my 9 to 5 so I can show up and do those faithfully and succeed to push my CEO's business forward? And so when we begin to redefine what success looks like, we're able to look at those main domains of our life, figure out what those outcomes are, and also figure out what we can table. We can begin to enter into a state of getting rid of that perpetual, oh, I'm failing in being a mom, I'm failing at being a wife, I'm failing at taking care of myself. And we get to enter into this place where we are faithful in all of those things. We begin to thrive. And when we feel that way, and we have this kind of framework that in which we approach our lives, we actually begin to gain momentum in all of those things. And so I'm really excited for you. I think this is super crucial. I'm going to leave you with a final step that I always do. I think it's important, especially if you're a faith-led, ambitious woman. Step 4 is to invite God in to all of this. You've written out your inventory list. You've defined what season you're in. You've written out your table list. Now I want you, and you've began to redefine what success looks like. I want you to invite God in through prayer. You can do a written journal where you write out a prayer to God, where you write out your thoughts to God. Invite him into this exercise and ask him how to manage your time faithfully. I want you to ask him how you can better manage your time, to reveal your blind spots to you, because we all have them. We all have those areas of our lives that we need to have the light shined and go, oh, that's a blind spot. That's an area where I'm a little bit lazy. That's an area where I'm on my phone maybe a little too much and I'm not being faithful with my time well. I can reallocate that time to an area that really matters and really has importance. And as you begin to invite him into that area, after you do these exercises, you invite him into this. You are going to begin to know exactly what you're called to, exactly what season you're in, what you're called to, and how to steward it well. We don't want balance. We're not trying to balance things here anymore. We are entering into biblical stewardship, and I'm so excited for you. If you've found this video helpful, if you are starting to walk out stewardship, I want to know in the comments below. I would love to hear, what does your inventory list look like? Or what are some of the things in your season right now that you are tabling? You guys all know what season of my life I'm in. I'm going to be very proactive in this. And I just want to come alongside with you and help you to steward the season you're in well. So if you need help or you even want to go through this exercise together, I would love to connect with you. Drop a comment below and I will see you guys in next week's episode. Take care.